Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. The celebration of the birth of the Prophet Mawlid al-Nabi 2022 was held yesterday in Djibouti. And on the international scene in Senegal, exchanged with the media ahead of the 8th Dakar International Forum on Peace and Security in Africa. Those were our major top highlights, our beloved viewers. Welcome back. The Executive Secretary of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Dr. Ouargane Gabiru, condemns in the strongest terms the criminal and cowardly attack on the Tajoran regiment of the Djibouti Army and Garabtisan in the evening of October 6, 2022, which left 7 people dead and 4 injured. He said that Djibouti is an oasis of peace and plays an important role in promoting peaceful coexistence in the region. The Executive Secretary extended his deepest condolence to the government and people of Djibouti and the families of the officers who were killed. He also wished a speedy recovery to the injured and hoped that the 6 missing soldiers would soon be found. He further added that those who committed this criminal act must be brought to justice. The President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, addressed a message in which he condemned in the strongest terms the terrorist attacks that was perpetrated in the night of 6 to 7 October by a group called Army Fruit against the troops based in Garabtisan in Tajura region. We learned with horror the honorable act of barbarism, said President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, expressing his deepest sympathy and solidarity with the families of the deceased. For his part, the President of Somaliland, Mr. Musa Bihi Ahmed, also strongly condemned this heinous act. In this message, President Musa Bihi brings his full support in these circumstances to the President of the Republic, the government, and the people of Djibouti. In this painful circumstance, Somaliland presents its sincere condolence to the families of the victims as well as its wishes for a speedy recovery to the injured, said President Musa Bihi in a message addressed to the head of the state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Umar Gelle. Following the message of the President of the Republic condemning the attack perpetrated against the advanced unit of Gabartisan Unit Apparent to the Joint Regiment of the Djiboutian Army in Tajura, the whole government joins the President of the Republic, Supreme Head of the Armies, to condemn with the greatest firmness the attack that cost the life of 7 of our valiant soldiers and several other injured. The entire government prays for those who died, so the Almighty may welcome them into His vast paradise among the virtuous faithful. In these painful circumstances, they express their deepest condolence and sincere sympathy to all the families of the martyrs. In this painful ordeal, the divine will being unstoppable. They implore the Almighty to grant them patience and comfort to each of the families. They expressed a speedy recovery to the soldiers who were injured. They reiterated their encouragement to the defense and security forces who are fighting with courage and dedication. Among the political parties at the front of the restoration of unity and democracy, through the voice of its president, Mr. Ali Mohammed Dawood, strongly condemning this despicable, cowardly, and barbaric act perpetrated by cowardly individuals. He also sent his deepest condolence to the bereaved families of the valiant soldiers who died with honor on the battlefields defending the country and wished a speedy recovery to the injured soldiers. On behalf of the President of the PSD party, the Executive Committee, and on behalf of the Secretary General and spokesman of the PSD, the Social Democratic Party condemns in the strongest possible terms the terrorist attacks perpetrated during the night of October 6 to 7 by a group called Armed Fruit against our brave soldiers based in Garabtisan, a locality in the Tajorian region. To this painful situation, the PSD sends a message of condolence to the families of our brave martyred soldiers. May Allah welcome them into His eternal paradise and wish a speedy recovery to the injured soldiers. And last but not least, the President of the Regional Council of Tajura expressed his condemnation in a statement, and I quote, "Following a cowardly and heinous act by armed bandits on the night of Thursday, October 6 and Friday, October 7, against a military camp located in Garabtisan, where a unit belonging to the Inter-Army Regiment of Tajura is stationed, we cannot fail to react to this barbaric act from another age. This criminal and despicable act cost the lives of 7 soldiers, 4 others were wounded, and 6 of their brothers in arms are missing. In the name of the entire population of Tajura, in the name of my council, and in my own name, I strongly condemn this unspeakable criminal act with the utmost severity. I address our most saddened condolence to the staff of the Djiboutian Armed Forces, to Colonel Ali Shehem and his men of the Tajoran Inter-Army Regiment affected by the loss of their comrades, and to the families of the victims. I have the painful privilege in such circumstances to act as the spokesperson for the population of Tajura, which expresses through me its full and complete solidarity with our valiant soldiers, guarantees of their territorial integrity, of our country. Still, in the country's news, like the countries of the Islamic world, the Republic of Djibouti celebrated at the People's Palace the feast of Mawlid al-Nabi in a festive and ceremonial atmosphere, bringing together ulamas, preachers, and religious figures. The ceremony was chaired by the Executive Secretary of the High Islamic Council, Sheikh Ukaye, in the presence of Executive of the Ministry and guests who came in large numbers for the occasion. Thus, after the recitation of Quranic verses as a preamble, the program began with religious songs and qasaid praising the virtues of the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The speakers praised this memorable day, tracing the life of the Messenger of God from his birth to the divine revelation and announcement of prophecy to begin a new era of human history. It is worth recalling that the feast of Mawlid al-Nabi of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is commemorated every year on the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal of the Muslim calendar, considered the month of lights and beauty. As usual, during the Mawlid, believers address the Prophet in efficient and laudatory terms, reflecting the deep love of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, who was the last messenger of God for all mankind. You are light, bright full moon, sent a mercy for the worlds, the best of creatures, a divine grace, the beloved of God. These are some of the verses of the poems spoken. Thanks to his divine message and his sublime conduct, the Prophet enlightened the path of life by preaching the sublime virtues of pity and love of Allah, the Most High, to guide the human destiny on the path of happiness, serenity, and understanding, laying the foundations of harmonious and united with where human beings are all equal before Allah, the Merciful. During the celebration, the best wishes of happiness and prosperity were presented to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, and to the Djiboutian people, imploring God the Almighty to bless our country and to guide it on the path of progress, peace, and prosperity. In his speech delivered on behalf of the Minister, Mr. Mu'min Hassan Berid, Executive Secretary of the High Islamic Council, Sheikh Ukaye, wished that this religious event would be a blessing of our country and for all the Islamic countries, imploring Allah, the benefactor for peace, brotherhood, and solidarity, to reign in the whole wide world. In Djibouti City, the main event of this evening of Mawlid al-Nabi took place at the headquarters of the Union of Djiboutian Women. A huge crowd of the people, composed of all the components of the population, are found on the site from the first hours of the evening. Indeed, it is in a festive and ceremonial atmosphere that the participants took the ceremony, and this in the presence of many civil personalities, ulamas, preachers, and religious figures. The guest of honor of this evening was the mayor of the city of Dir Dawa, Mr. Khadir Johar, invited by the mayor of Djibouti, Mr. Said Dawood. This Ethiopian delegation from Dir Dawa was accompanied by the Consul General of Djibouti in Dir Dawa, Mr. Musa Haji Jama. Thus, the program started with preaching and reminder of the greatness of the event of Mawlid al-Nabi, ended with religious songs and qasaid praising the virtues of the life of the Prophet Muhammad. Prayers and blessings be of Allah be upon him.
سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك مرحبا رسول مرحبا مرحبا قفني واجرني مرحبا رسول الله يجينا مرحبا بزيارة القاسمين مرحبا مرحبا نبي مرحبا 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 رسول مرحبا مرحبا نرتدي منك شفاعة مرحبا عند رب العالمين يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك يا النبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك عليك صلوات الله عليك سرك الصعب ودمه ويا ينادي صلي وسناضو وصلي يا النبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك.
Like other Muslim countries, the Republic of Djibouti celebrated last night the religious holiday Mawlid al-Nabawi, which corresponds to the birth of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In addition to collective meals, night religious in hadith and qasaid religious songs have animated the various neighborhoods of the Djiboutian capital. Organized by the Association of the Districts, the evening of commemoration to the birth of the Prophet of Islam aroused an enthusiasm of fervor and religious pride among the inhabitants of our popular districts, as here in Section 7, Section 6, Humbuli, or Section 3, the atmosphere is more than festive. Let's all watch together.
مطالب فلو رأيت الخدام قياما على الأقدام وقد جادوا بدموع سواكب والقوم بين النادم وتائب وخائف للنفس لأن النفس يعاتب وابق من الذنوب إليه هاربا النبي استغرت بالله ابن غالبا يموت أبوه وأمه يقول جده ثم عمه شقيق
النور الصادع واشق من إلى الظلام حتى عرض على المراضي بشوف المحركات ورجع كل جبار من الجن بعتيم بقي من خلائق كما ذكر فيما مضى أول قضية المعجزات بخلود نار الفارس وسعود الشرق اللهم صل وسلم وبارك صلى الله إلى رعليا وارتحلت به إلى أهل فلم
درس وإن قال هو السماء أرجو بهذه التي لم تكن على إن تبنينا سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك سلام
حبيبي سلام عليك
Within the framework of the festival of Mawlid al-Nabi was celebrated in great pomp in the diocese of the commune of Balbala. Thus, this festival organized by the local association in the framework by the municipality were held in the presence of the president of the commune and representative of the civil society. As everywhere in the popular districts of the capital, the preachers and the religious songs on the virtues and praises of our beloved Prophet, peace and greeting of Allah on him, have vibrated the alleys of this sprawling township. Let's follow.
يا رب لا تغضب بوسكنا
عفوان الذنب إذا كان في الحق والسبب وإذا ضيع حق الله لم يرد الطريق حرة من دبها أنه قد مر فيه وإذا
بالمضروب واضربوا بالمحبوب ولم يعد أحد من القوم
جئت بالأمر المطاع مرحبا عليك
Following a huge whirlwind that caused a major incident on the 230 kV line, this huge whirlwind blew away a conductor of one phase of the 230 kV line feeding Djibouti towards the pole of the other 63 kV line feeding the regions of Ali Sibih and Dakhil. The ADD team in charge of the operation of the Ethiopian side and the ADD EPP team has been reinforced by the double EP team on the site. Since the repair of this type of incident requires the intervention of two specialized teams, and therefore the work of separation of these two lines and the repair of the damaged one has been restored today. The region of Ali Sabih, like the rest of the Muslim world, celebrated last night the blessed feast of Mawlid al-Nabi, which commemorates the birth of our Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This feast is celebrated every year on the 12th day of the month of the Rabi' al-Awwal of the Muslim calendar. A usual religious ceremony are organized in the different districts of the city of Asajok. To mark this event, the prefect of the region, Mr. Musa Adam Migan, the president of the regional council, Mr. Sharmaki Hassan Alale, as well as the Asajok population took part massively in this evening. Let's follow.
أنت العوام في الوجود بأسرها
على المرادي اللهم صل وسلم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه صلى الله وسلم. هذه الذرة اليتيمة التي لا توجد لها قيمة. قالت الطيور نحن نكفله ونقتني مهمته العليمة. قالت
مرحبا رسول مرحبا مرحبا مرحبا.
رأينا العيسى حنات بسرائيل إليك والغمام قد ضلت والملا صدى بين يديك نازل بالعشي والبكور. عليك سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله الله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ولم تكن يا عم فقه فلياتنا محمد فلم شدت الغرب بالقلب وبعث الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم شاكيا يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات من عليك الأيام قد تبادى الخيرين. أنت الذي تتامل أنت الذي شبور يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات حبيبي محمد
What a wonderful atmosphere that was. A heavy rain has largely sprung this afternoon in the city of Asajok, water spots that have swept away the intense and stifling heat in one full swoop. The rain did not cause any damage except for the flooding of the wadi located in the city center, which disrupted traffic and pedestrian passages at this level. This heavy rain has made the climate of the city Asajok more pleasant today, that the moreover delighted the population of Ali Sabih. It has been raining heavily lately in the localities of the region. The water flows in the wadis and in the alleys of the neighborhoods have given back the land a clean and virgin aspect. The Republic of Djibouti is changing its face and taking one of the appearances of a large metropolis in the making. This is characterized by the rapid urbanization, particularly in the cities that are growing like mushrooms. The appearance of large buildings conducive to business development, large shopping malls, but also a frantic multiplication of hotels to accommodate a clientele more and more interested in Djibouti. In parallel to this development, it is accompanied by an urban policy that includes the well-being of its inhabitants. Indeed, we see that Djibouti is equipped with infrastructure and space designed for relaxation and free time. Among these spaces, we can mention the renovation and development of the public garden known to all, which is the heart of the old commercial district. It is at the intersection of the commercial pole and the pole of the administration of the city of Djibouti. Since its renovation, it is a real place of relaxation. In the evening come, Djiboutians take advantage of public benches. To that is added the Park of Roma, real children's garden near the popular districts, and not the least, the big part of Djibouti located at the entrance of the Humbuli Brigade, a large space fitted out for relaxation sport with playgrounds for children. But a question arises. This infrastructure, once realized, require a maintenance but also a care on behalf of the users who have other than the inhabitants of the city. It remains to be seen whether Djiboutians will prove worthy of these facilities of recreation in view of the destruction and deterioration of garbage points throughout the city. And this is just one example among many other. In this regard, we can cite the space intended for children in front of the school of the SPA that has been largely destroyed. The road Burhan Bay also equal with the space of relaxation and dismounted. The City Council of Djibouti appeals to the civic mindedness of the population for the preservation of these public goods to the welfare of all Djiboutians. If the nation is will to share a common destiny on common values, it is also unified, embodied, and partified by places. Moments of the history of Djibouti, small as large, was forged through sites, places of the community of men, women, are found around the destiny. It is in this perspective that the Balbala Dam was born, initiated by the President of the Republic, a place full of history on one of the most painful periods of our society's struggle for national independence. And this with a mission to jealously safeguard our past, but also to honor the memory of our heroes, because they are the indelible identities and implements for prosperity. This memorial, located at the exact place of the dam, illustrates a whole symbolism that of not forgetting the history, introduced in narrative with a patriotic hints, which has the value of physical, we lie in the failing in the maintenance in life of one of the major facts of the collective history of our society. To serve as a base for the development of our cohesion and national identity, a beautiful way to model by anticipation the fates of our society of tomorrow, that being to allow the memory to trace its roots in other way, in a more generous and thus more promising way. What a beautiful way to tell, to postulate the stories of our heroes, to gather the narrative elements in order to make this place a space retracing the commitment of these own sons and daughters who died in the fight. At the same time that I was engaged in the military services of the French colonial forces, I was part of this resistance, this perimeter that stretched along the Sheikh Osman military camp to the edge of the current area dedicated to the museum was used as a cemetery. My brother stepped on a mine, he died on the spot, as did many others. So we must not forget that many paid with their lives so that we could enjoy this acquired sovereignty. It is to remember those who accepted to bleed to protect their country. They were capable of the ultimate sacrifice so that we are today free men and women. Thanks to this memorial, it is your duty to honor this action. In a world constant evolution, it goes without saying to go forward and accompany the march of the world. It is incumbent upon us to know where we come from, for it is important that the nation finds itself in places where it was forged, and not to forget these men and women who lost their lives for the defense of a dream, the dream of a greater Djibouti. As part of the fight against illegal trade, the Customs Division of the region of Arta, in close collaboration with the National Police of the police station of Hodan, has put on hand yesterday a large quantity of qat smuggled from the region of Ali Sibeh. It is a 15 packages, each containing more than 100 packages of qat, hidden in a car to be sold illegally in the markets of the capital. After following closely and strictly, the customs officers and police intercepted the cargo during its unloading. According to the procedure in the forest, the entire seizure was destroyed with speed in the presence of Mr. Yahya Musa Ege, the head of Customs Division of the Arta region. During his speech, the head of the PK-20, PK-51 Customs Brigade, Mr. Suleiman Hassan, expressed his satisfaction with the success of the operation, while once again issuing severe warnings to smugglers. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we come to the international scene now as a prelude to the 8th edition of the Dakar Forum on Peace and Security. An interactive dialogue with the international press and editorialists took place at the Terobe Hotel in Dakar. This meeting, chaired by Mrs. Assista Tal, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Senegalese abroad, provided space for exchange between journalists, editorials, and columnists, specialists in peace and security issues in Africa. In Kogi State in central Nigeria, thousands of travelers were still stranded on Friday, struggling to find their way through the floodwaters. Lokoja, the state capital, is located at the confluence of Nigeria's two largest rivers, the Niger and Benue, while roads are most often subject to flooding. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you and take care.